Okay,
Alright.
I am Jason, you are,
Jamie.
and we are about to do a wrestling podcast. This is podcast number 2. It is recorded on the 3rd of February, 2013. Well, it seemed just like 4 weeks ago we were doing our very first one,
That's
and now
right.
we're on to a second.
Well,
Well, technically it is our third one.
Our second official, the Royal Rumble, that was a special.
The Royal Rumble is a special, yeah. So, okay, this podcast number 2 is going to be about wrestling. Specifically, World Wrestling Entertainment, or for you who have not watched it in a long time, WWF.
Yes, although it's been 10 years, people really should be.
Yeah, you should really know now.
Yeah, it's gonna.
Although there has been a lot of TV programs I've watched lately that still call it WWF.
They're supposed to do that a lot, but they've recently started correcting themselves, which is good. But yeah,
okay.
We're going to stay in the realm of WWE because the wrestling world it's too vast for the time we've got.
It's big, and
I've
we
not
can talk
watched
about
TNA.
other podcasts to talk about that.
I've not watched TNA in a long time, so I have really no idea where to start with that. So we're just going to stay to what we know, and it's going to be
okay. So, first topic is what is our first memories of wrestling. You go first.
First memories of exposure to wrestling. Well, my very far. I've got a few. I really don't remember how I got into it. The one thing I think what started it was say back in the day, WWE was showing. It was shown. Raw was shown on Sky Sports, but I didn't have that. I get Sky One, and they showed. I remember that channel, Sky One, and they showed SmackDown every Saturday morning.
Yep.
And of course, I watched that, and I never knew what happened on Raw. So the only exposure I got was every Saturday morning.
Yeah.
9-10 o'clock was WWE SmackDown. And I
bet you're glad when they introduced SmackDown Rebound or Raw Rebound.
Yeah, it was helpful then because I had no idea what happened on Raw. And I missed those sort of things because I remember one of my first memories that I can still recall was I was watching SmackDown and a wee graphic came up and it was telling you a match that's happening later on. It was a tag team match. I think it was Edge and Christian against Rock and Undertaker. And Rock and Undertaker were the tag champs. And I thought, what? When did that happen?
Oh, for that,
I on Raw, so I went and called up my friend and went, did you know this? Did you know what? I had no idea. Because I never watched Raw. And it was all really exciting back then. And I know as a kid, you're not aware of, the behind the scenes talks or wrestling being predetermined.
No,
there
really wasn't internet back then. It was like dial-up, and you weren't really.
And then you're just totally immersed in the storyline and everything. It's wonders of being a child. And
my first memory. Oh, well, you still go on.
No. So I was going to branch on, but you can start at yours first.
Okay, mine was. It was weird because I was introduced to SummerSlam, but I didn't watch SummerSlam 2000. I just knew about it, and I heard my stepdad talking about it. I was like, okay. And I remember watching Unforgiven 2000 when Austin returned from that runover thing. And the match that stuck out for me, which really got me into it, was I suppose that hardcore match. And I always say that to people. I say it's probably that 6-man championship scramble hardcore match that got me into it. I don't know. I just like I just thought the great idea of people getting hit in the head with trash cans and being put through tables.
Yeah.
Hit by candles.
That's during the Attitude Era when you had the blood and the guts and the swearing.
Yeah. I don't know. So that just really stuck out for me. It just kind of just snowballed from there because I remember when it first started, Steve Blackman was my favourite, obviously because he was a hardcore champion. And then it snowballed over to being The Rock. Because he was the big main guy, he had the title. And I remember at No Mercy when he lost it, I was so gutted that he had lost it to Kurt Angle, and I was so angry at Edge and Christian for essentially screwing him over.
Yeah.
I actually turned around to Mum and says, do you think he'll ever get it back?
I know
yeah, he'll get it back, and he did eventually get it back.
When you're young and you watch wrestling, you really do get devastated over matches. I mean, you still feel that in a way these days when you're older, but it's not in the same degree.
You know, nowadays you're more aware. If you watch it, you're going to be more into it. You're going to read the dirt sheets, which I suppose is not a good thing, but you're still going to read them anyway, and you still think they should push who, and they're giving the titles now to someone who deserves it, rather than you go, oh, for God's sake, why did he do that?
Yeah, because now when someone wins it, I'll just examine like John Cena wins it. You don't say, oh, you just think, oh God, he's boring, dull. I don't want him to be charming. Although when you're a kid watching it and you think Kurt Angle, you don't think, oh, he's a great athlete. You think, oh, bastard, I don't like him. Why is he? I want him to lose. It's just a good old fashioned face against the heel, and you totally buy into it. I think I think came into roughly the same time. Cause I don't remember ever buying it. I think I must have recorded it, like SummerSlam 2000. Because I always remember watching the triple threat match, Rock, Kurt Angle, and Triple H. And I remember that whole love triangle storyline that was going on. I remember that. And I always remember for a long time.
I remember a few years ago I found a Raw on a videotape, and it was before Unforgiven. No, it was a Raw after Unforgiven.
A recorded tape?
And I'd never seen it. A recorded tape. I don't know what it is now. It's probably lost. But it still had everything on it. The full episode. I was like, whoa, this is on videotape.
I know, it's so retro.
I know, it's crazy.
That pay-per-view, looking back on it, it was quite good. I mean, it had the TLC. And I remember that my favourite match on it was Undertaker Kane, and it wasn't even a good match for that long, but I was just fascinated by it, because I think Undertaker and Kane just fascinated me.
Yep.
Being the big monster.
I know, I was like, when I seen Kane, I was like, whoa. And it's good though, because your first memory, and then what you do is when we got internet a few months later, it was looking back on stuff. Obviously, they didn't have YouTube back then, but there was you could still read up on stuff, which is quite good.
Yeah, because you really back then survived on week to week. You didn't read ahead and think, the backstage they're thinking.
Well, you didn't know any backstory unless they told you.
You didn't know about it. You think,
they're
thinking about giving this guy the title, so look, and you think, okay, so that's going to happen.
For example, when you start watching wrestling, there's not really a start to it, is there? You don't come in at the beginning of a season and then start watching
as they say,
you just jump into the deep end and watch it, and then you go from there.
Wrestling never has its off season; it's continuous.
Exactly, it's been continuous for about 50, 60, 70 years now.
And because we came into it during it was
the tail end of the Attitude Era.
Well,
essentially.
I know I didn't. I didn't go into it full time for probably a year after that. But I didn't watch it, and we were essentially watching it during the height of wrestling's popularity. And it's what they call the Attitude Era. So we got the Austin, got the Austin middle finger, we got the chair shots to the head and blood coming out.
Yeah.
I'm not in. Looking back, that didn't scar me. I enjoyed it, but I never tried to bust open any of my pals or anything like that.
No, I know.
Even though I didn't know it was entertainment, I just took it as much.
Yeah.
And
it's quite funny because at school, right, we had a group of friends who watched it with me, and we used to make up feds.
Yeah, we did as well. Yeah.
And do you know what we used to do? I know that this might sound silly, but see, gym, see if do cross country or something, football matches, we used to put those feds on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I ended up with 5 federations. I don't know why, but it's really weird.
We used to do it, because I remember when I went to the States, I was in Florida, and I was going through the mall, and there was this just massive toy shop. And the one thing I remember seeing was, because I had a budget, I only had $50. It's to me then, I was 10 at the time, that's a hell of a lot. And I seen this, it wasn't a replica, but it was WF Eagle belt, but a kid's size. I seen that and I thought, wow. I think it cost, it was probably $30, $40, because I blew a lot of my budget on it. I remember coming back and I actually did a talk at school about it.
It's funny because when you're at school, when you're essentially your mates are all talking about it, and then it's funny, you feel like the one that's been left behind because you're still watching it and they've moved on. And a lot of people, people go to me, do you still watch wrestling? And that a bit kiddie? And I went, no, I enjoy it.
Exactly.
Why should I give up watching it?
That's just why I never stopped watching it, because I just enjoyed it every week, and I've never seen it. I never like hearing when you see these people go, oh, if Cena wins the title, I'm just going to stop watching. And you think, is that the only reason you watch it? Really? Yeah. I watch it because I enjoy lots of things. Yes, I know I'm not always going to get what I want, but at least I'm going to be entertained by it.
You're entertained by it, exactly.
And I've always
All right.
enjoyed it, and that's why, I mean, it's the amazing thing, I've been watching it for, what's that, nearly, 12 years now?
No, it's 13 years.
2001, roughly,
Essentially.
so, yeah.
All right, we'll move on to our next topic. What's your favourite match and moment from those 13 years of watching wrestling? I'll go first.
Okay.
I absolutely love, right? It's not. I could say I like Undertaker's badass returns, but I'm not sure. I like Undertaker's Deadman returns. I don't know how many times he's returned now.
It's
But
returned, yeah, there's been a lot of them.
But every time, I absolutely get shivers, and it's brilliant. I love it. I love when the lights go out. I love when it goes dark. I love when the gong goes.
Do you have a particular favourite Undertaker run or moment? Or?
When he came back as a dead man, you know, at WrestleMania 20, when he came back, because when they done the promos for that, I knew it. I remember a year before. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember this. In 2003, he was come back at the Royal Rumble. He was the last guy in, but they'd done promos for him. Come back as a dead man.
I remember it was.
Do you remember?
I remember in that Rumbles that Kane was dominating at the time, and the entrant the gong went, but he never came out. Is that right?
No, this was the Royal Rumble before.
Oh, before that, right?
This was 2003 Royal Rumble, yeah. They did a promo. I remember, and I thought he's come back as a dead man in this Rumble. And I remember waiting to number 30 at 2003, and it was just a bigger gimmick. I thought, well, why do all that promo if he's not going to come back as a dead man?
I remember that. I think.
And then, of course, a year later,
I remember that.
Kane the gong went in the Royal Rumble. But that was, I still think to this day that that's one of his best entrances.
It was.
It might be simple with the what do you call them?
Druids.
The Druids, yeah, that's him, and Paul Bearer. They just summed up how great that was. And it's hard to think that was 9 years ago.
I know.
It really surprises me.
I have to agree, because I think I really, like I say, with Undertaker and Kane, even though that was a very basic match, it's like I say, one of the reasons how we like wrestling so much. For me, I just love the spectacle of it. And it's so much, you might not get the match might be just not a basic brawl style match, but there's just so much emotion, story going on. Because that was a culmination of about a year, I think. Because remember, well, not a year, probably about 4 months. Four or 5 months, maybe.
Yeah, till WrestleMania.
And because I remember what you're saying the year before, I think they were actually planning on bringing the Dead Man back.
They're teasing it.
I think they were actually deciding that, and then they decided, we won't do it.
Well, he's still a bit popular as the badass.
I think that's what it was. A lot of people give the badass a bit of stick, but I thought I liked it. It was changed.
Now, considering now they're humanising them a lot more, so they're kind of mixing the two together. That brings me on to the next one. Unexpected returns as well. Like, for example, I'll give you... Do you remember 2004 when The Rock returned? When Eugene was getting picked on by the coach? That, for example. And the crowds go mad. And I tell you what, this is another point I've got here is... See when the fans cheer and you know it's a proper cheer, I get goosebumps. Because it's the fans that really make
because
that.
You know when it's, edited in. Like SmackDown has that.
Yeah, when it's done. You know
it's I'm trying to think, big moments returns. Well, I mean, in recent history, when The Rock returned, was it last year or the year before that?
2011.
Yeah, it says that because it was.
That was quite.
It was beautiful because when nowadays when you get a superstar return, it's so hard to really surprise people. Case
example.
You get all these reports.
Sorry, Todd Grisham, but Christian. Do you remember that? That just ruined it for me.
Christian. Oh, it was when he came back.
Christian was returned from TNA. He's gone to he was on ECW. He went, "It's Christian." I thought.
I like it when they don't say anything; they just let them come out. I remember when they announced they were going to have a host for WrestleMania. There's all these silent things like Bieber, and I thought.
Oh, God.
I was thinking, do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised because I know they want to get these demographics in. And Justin Bieber is apparently popular.
Yeah.
It's like when they had that. I was going to say Tushy or something for that Mania. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, the fact I don't know her name is actually means I'm doing it right. But yeah, definitely The Rock because it was I can still watch that back and get excited about it because it was just unexpected.
I mean that was 2 years ago now, and he still gets a good reaction.
Recently, my favourite has got to be I think the Money in the Bank pay-per-view 2011. because everything that night just seemed to just. I mean, if I could.
That was do you know what, that night was just.
It was amazing. If I could book that show, that was how I'd have done it. You know, the other things. It just went so well. And
had a great atmosphere too.
That's the pay-per-view that I'd put on my list. If I could time travel and go back to a pay-per-view, I'd love to be there. Chicago's always been good for putting on shows, but that was just because the fact I had that story with Punk leaving, and you know, it's so rare that it happens. But see, when he won that, I was sitting in my chair going, no, fist pump in the air, going, yes, that's exactly what I wanted to happen.
I mean, it's one of the pay-per-views that I didn't. You know how you don't really watch pay-per-views to stay up. You stay up. Well, us in the UK stay up and watch it.
It's like 4 a.m.
It's one of the pay-per-views we don't really watch. So, for example, I won't watch Elimination Chamber at night. I won't stay up and watch that.
I'll record it.
But I record it and watch it next day. But stuff like the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and that pay-per-view, if I know it's going to be good, I'll stay up and watch it.
Because that's the thing, is that because in the UK, because I'm in America, they it's pay-per-view every month for them. They have, I think it's like $40-50.
Yeah, that's what I said to people. I said, I can't remember who I was talking to about it, but I said we get an extremely cheap deal over here for pay-per-view events.
I know, it's around £14-15 for us. And it's not every pay-per-view, because like you're saying, well, Elimination Chamber, that's on Sky Sports. Although you have to pay to get that, but because a lot of them are on Sky Box Office.
Still a few now and then on Sky Sports. Most of them now are on Box Office, but do you know what? You know, half the time it's just, as I say, you don't stay up and watch it. You record it essentially. I mean, if you do you know what it is as well? Do you know what I do with wrestling is if it's not going to be good, I'll not buy it. That's the way it goes. That's you know, if you see something, for example, say something you've always wanted it and it doesn't really live up to what you want, you don't buy it. Mm. It's as simple as that, you know. If it doesn't look good, you don't buy it.
Yeah, because it's with things like WrestleMania, you know that's going to,
you know
it's going to be good because WrestleMania they'll put everything into it, so that's always a given. And the Royal Rumble's the same.
That's what they're always working towards.
But anything else, I don't. There has to be a promise of something special because Money in the Bank really had that, and I thought, that seemed like it's going to be worth my while, not only buying it but staying up to watch it. And that pay-per-view just ticked all the boxes for me, because I still have it. It's one of the.
It's funny because that's the next point. Standout wrestlers.
I know. Well, that's not see.
We're just talking about Money in the Bank and CM Punk becoming.
I'll go for recently. No, I'll say back in the day. When I started watching it, one of the factions I hated was Right to Censor. And
I knew you were going to.
I know, because I've told you this before. There was just that because the theme was just so annoying. It was the siren going.
Do you know that I had background music to it as well? It wasn't just the alarm. I had a little kind of.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but it was just
music to it as well.
The prominent.
No. It's enough.
I miss that because it's just like, God, they always ruin the good moments. Oh, the bastards.
Yeah.
I hated them. I remember.
Remember how they broke up? I can't even remember.
I remember there was a Bill Buchanan, Goodfather.
It was Goodfather.
And Val Venus.
Yeah, Val Venus got turned. Mm-hmm. I remember that story. I remember that. Yeah, and he got turned. It's almost like being in an asylum. They put him in an asylum so he would get turned into the Right to Censor.
Do you know what?
And they took on Ivory as well.
Looking back, it's just that was a really affectionate heel group. It just worked so well.
Yeah. They never won any titles. They never won anything like that.
Oh, Ivory had the women's title.
Oh, she won the women's title, and they seemed to protect her that way. And that whole feud with China was good as well. I remember when Fate broke her neck when they done that spike pill driver. I remember that.
She actually did have a severe neck injury.
From that move?
I don't think it was not well.
Oh right, I know she had a neck injury.
She definitely did because remember she used to wrestle all the guys, and then after that she never did it again.
No, she didn't. She didn't do it.
She really did have a severe neck injury, and that's how a lot of wrestling storylines. They come from an element of real life, and that was the circumstance. They just went with it. She was out for quite a while, and the Rumble thing that was fake. But she didn't really hurt herself. That was just. I really shouldn't say that word when I'm talking about this because I'll blow something up. But yeah, that was fabricated. That since if we're talking about great pay-per-views, I'd hate myself if I didn't mention WrestleMania 7, which is
that was my first one.
Yeah,
first
probably.
So
I mean, a lot of people even to this day, and I can tend to agree with them, probably one of the best WrestleManias ever.
Mm-hmm.
With the headline of Rock Austin 2.
Face versus face.
And he had that was the first. Wasn't that the first TLC match? Wasn't it? Or was that at SummerSlam?
Yeah. No, it was either the first triple TLC match or it was first TLC match. I think it was the first triple TLC match. Triple tag team.
No, it was second. Cause SummerSlam was the first one. This was the second one. SummerSlam was I remember that.
Oh, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the second one.
Yeah, because I remember it was went on to face Triple H for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the triple threat hardcore with Kane and Big Show and Raven.
Yeah, Kane won that.
Do you know, I don't know if you remember it. Remember they went backstage and Kane drove. No, who was it? It was Kane drove the buggy, and he when he hit Raven. It took me. I keep going, oh shit! Yeah, because I thought he really ran him over. Yeah,
he did. I think he did.
Because he reacted as if he ran over his foot.
I mean, that pay-per-view was just solid from the beginning. I thought it was us. I mean, the next year, 18 was quite good as well. See, I thought
they had two solid.
Two solid.
For a long time I was because I've been trying a while which one's better, but I'd have to probably go with 7. Not if I was best for it, but because WrestleMania that had was it Rock versus Hogan?
It was Hogan Rock and that hardcore title thing.
I mean that's remember I was talking about how matches that are not technically sound, but they just have so much story and heart in them. That's another example.
Undertaker Ric Flair was a personal storyline.
Because you had, do you know what?
I got really personal.
Fun fact here. Well, it may not be fun fact, but interesting fact that David Flair's son. I've seen him wrestle live in Butlins.
Have you?
Yeah. Actually, when I was on holiday in England in Butlins, they had a little wrestling event, and one of the headline guys was David Flair. So there you go.
Oh well, I knew Ric Flair had something. I didn't know he wrestled.
He did, yeah. So there's that for you.
There we go.
Not very interesting, but in fact, I like to remember.
Well, fun fact: when I was at Collector Mania in Glasgow, I met Drew McIntyre.
I remember that.
Or Drew Galloway, as he's called. Which is really strange. Because you look at him now, you think, oh, I've seen that guy before he was going into wrestling.
Well, he was in wrestling. Yeah, because he just signed with WWE, hadn't he?
Yeah, it was one of those get to see him before he goes to WWE. Even had it on the table. They had it on the table as well. It's crazy.
Remember I meant to say it earlier when we were talking about wrestling experience, the first ones. And the first time I went, I think it was 2002. Remember Insurrection?
Yes.
And it had the UK pay-per-views, and I found it a lot quicker than I expected, but do you know, I've been looking over the card, and I do not remember half of it. I remember key things. That was when Brock Lesnar was. He just debuted. Remember, he had that feud with the Hardys.
Yes.
And I don't.
Yeah,
I have no idea who he wrestled. Apparently, it was Matt Hardy. I don't remember. But I told you this. Because I remember him coming out, and I was on my chair, and he jumped up in the ring, and the pyro went off, and I was not expecting it, and I nearly jumped up in the chair. I remember that, and there was a hardcore match as well. Do not remember who was in it, but apparently it was Justin Incredible, Crash, Richards, and Stasiak.
Wow.
I don't remember it, but I remember there was a hardcore match. And I had Austin. I remember Austin was there, and he must have fought the Big Show, although I don't remember that either. I just remember Austin was there. Because I had an Austin sign. And then Booker T and Goldust, although they were heels at the time, but we cheered.
Yeah. Of course you're going to cheer, because if you like them... Then...
Honestly, the crowd cheered them, so I just went with it. Didn't really understand. And the main event, it's weird I only remember half the matches. And the main event was, because I only remember it was Triple H and Undertaker being in the main event, but apparently it was Ric Flair and Regal were there as well. I don't remember that.
Right, though. I think you're right about Triple H and Undertaker.
Yeah, because they had a match on the pay-per-view, so that's how I know this was the right card. I just don't remember the tag match being there.
Yeah.
and
I think you're right. I think you're.
and apparently like Mr. Perfect and Jerry Lawler wrestled, and I think, how can I not remember that? I mean, I know I was a kid, but come on, Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I think you're right about the Triple H thing. I think you're right.
Yeah, that was the first. That was my first ever thing. That was at the SEC a long time ago.
Well,
I've been there a lot since, but that was the first one.
Well, since we're talking about live event stuff, we'll go back to favourite stipulations. But live event stuff, we'll talk about our live event. We went to Raw in Birmingham on the 5th of November 2012.
Because this was, I've been to a few events before, but this was my first TV taping, or my first taping, but this was your first ever.
This was my first ever.
Yeah,
and
so
even non-WWE stuff ever.
So you can start on this, since this has more meaning for you. I
tell you what, see when we booked tickets, it was funny because I was at Tea in the Park and you'd sent me them via text,
yeah.
And I thought, oh, here we go, that's it. It's nearly here. And then when we were travelling down the bus, it would get better. And I remember I said to you, I wonder what's going to happen. You were like, oh yeah, that's right, the storylines are still happening. Almost like it was a separate thing. Like,
I remember, because I've been so used to going to just live events where what happens there doesn't really mean anything, and that's what I think. I remember like, oh yeah, that's right. Like the Brad Mannix thing was still happening, and Punk and Ryback, and I was like, that's right. We're not going to see that. What happened?
But when we got there, it was crowded, and we waited about 50 minutes to get in the building and half an hour to get bloody merchandise.
I know.
And we're moving like penguins. But eventually we got in, sat down, and it was great seats. We got really good seats. And it was so real. I mean, it was so real. See, we went up to the ring just before we sat down. It was just, I was like, this is 12 years worth of watching this stuff, and here it is. Here it is right in front of me. That wrestling ring is right in front of me.
Something you've been.
It was something else.
Something you've been invested in for over 13 years, and you're finally seeing it live.
Well, it was. I don't even know. I don't know. I was surprised at the arena as well. I was like, this fit in here. I thought that's amazing. I was just like, it's just surreal seeing the commentary table. I was like, whoa, where's that come from? I was blown away by the set, and obviously, can I just say something? I don't think I've told you this, right? But see when the Michael McGilligan in, who was he wrestling again?
Tyson Kidd.
Mm-hmm. I'm not kidding, right? The TV doesn't do these guys justice. I'm not kidding. Even from where we were sitting, which was still quite far to the front, he was massive. It was so weird. It was such a weird feeling seeing these guys that have watched for 12 years on a TV screen, and to take it out of the TV screen and just watch it in person was just really weird. And I don't know how to describe the feeling when I seen those two. I was like, oh my god, they're actually in front of me.
Yeah,
and they were massive. They were massive.
Yeah, people don't really understand how. I mean, it's one thing to watch it on TV, but like say live, it's a whole different experience. I mean, the promos for live events, they're all accurate. It's just a completely different experience live, and you can be watching some mundane promo on TV and you think this is kind of boring, but at live with the crowd, you get the chants going, and you get really involved.
I don't know how to explain the feeling. I don't know. They say it's a different experience. I don't know how to explain that experience.
Remember the segment like with Cena and Vicky Guerrero when they're doing the RJ Ward the wardrobe thing? You have how she's walking in the hallway and you get that thing. When you're watching it, you think, maybe that's quite funny, but when you're live, it's just...
Well, it came out off TV quite well as well. So.
It did, because I remember when we left, I started reading a lot of online reports, and they were saying how fantastic the crowd was, and it makes the show better.
That makes us feel better because we were part of it.
Because that way back Brodus Clay, in the States, that'd been just some throwaway match, but because I was from the UK, he was the face essentially in that part. But yeah,
I think half the time I spent watching it through my camera. I'm not kidding, but
I know, because I don't know about you, but when I was sitting there, I kept watching the monitor. I think just so used to watching. I think
I don't. It's weird. You watch it. I was doing the same. I was watching it on the big screen. I was like, what am I doing?
It's right there. Just turn your head to the left.
I was watching it on the screen. I said, I can't do that. I'm watching it from here, so I made sure from the rest that I watched it in the ring. Essentially, it was. I've got some good photos, but I can't believe I took over 500 photos.
I know.
That just. I was see when I got home and done it, and I went, no way. There's no way that's 500 photos.
I tried to wheedle it because when you sit with them, I tried to wheedle it down to the best of, and even then it was at 300.
Oh, no, I was just like,
because I had my phone and I took a hell of a lot as well. And I had to conserve my battery because I totally ran down.
Yeah, I remember that.
But yeah,
because Sig's got on TV and one of yours got on TV as well. I remember watching it.
I've still got it recorded. I'm not deleting it.
Oh no.
Because I mean it was hard. I don't know how it was for you in the lead up, but because now I got the tickets about it was 4 months before the show, so 4 or 5 months. They were just sitting there staring at me, mocking me. Because it didn't feel real until you were heading to the show. Because we had to get the coach down, which was about 6 hours. And I'm convinced, by the way,
it flew by.
And I'm convinced that, because I remember, see when I watched the show, like back when I got home, JR said, some people have been travelled over 6 hours for this. And do you know what? I tweeted him that. I said, when I said I'm travelling 6 hours for this, so he's referenced me on TV. I'm convinced of it. And if you remember, I tweeted Paul Heyman a picture that you took.
Yes.
He retweeted it.
Yes, that was my picture for the Survivor Series thing. Mm-hmm. That was my picture he tweeted. I was like, whoa. See, when I seen it, I was like, what the hell, that's my picture?
Yeah, because I screen capped and I sent it to you.
That was brilliant. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, because I remember I think I thought before or after, but he retweeted me as well. Why didn't he even retweet me? He must have... Because I don't know what I said to him, because he referenced something that was on my profile page.
Yeah,
and
then we've talked about how he actually looked at your profile page.
Yeah. Because he said that sign I had, I've put it up on the wall.
I mean, even watching the wrestlers coming out, I mean, just seeing them in the ring and just watching them doing everything, it was just...
You've more respect for it seeing it in person.
Oh, yeah, you definitely have more respect for it. And what we were... at the beginning, we were like, see when people started doing Cena 6 things, I was like, we'd done it for 2 chants, and then we thought, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not in that crowd.
Exactly.
We're the CM Punk crowd.
Screw it. Don't even acknowledge the Cena chant. Just...
Yeah, so every time Cena Sucks would happen, we would shout CM Punk because it sounds the exact same. So I think we got away with it.
we were behind those chants. That was us. And you got a Justin Roberts chant started.
Yeah, I got a Justin Roberts one chant. I got that going. I was quite happy with that.
What would you take away from that event? How would you sum it up? What's your...
Well, my favourite, and I think you'll agree with me, was the Vince McMahon moment. I'll take that away from him because as I told you a week before, that if he appears...
Was him or Taker? I think you said it.
Him or Undertaker. If it was Vince, then I'd go absolutely mad. And I keep saying to you to this day that I must have been the first one up because I seen the WWE chairman thing on the entrance video and I was straight up.
Do you know how it's funny? I've said this to you. I remember during that. I don't know why, but I was looking at you for some reason, and then I heard the kind of, and you just went and just jumped up
straight up.
Because I wasn't even looking at the stage. I don't know if I was saying something to you, but I was just looking at you, and I just seen you jump up, going, "Oh yeah!" I mean, I'd used up all my energy just for superstars. And then when it actually got to the show, I was just like, no, I can't stop. I'm not getting tired. And it really takes it out of you. It really does. At the end of the night, it properly takes it out of you. My throat was raspy as hell.
Yeah. Your throat was really bad.
Because remember when we get back, I bought, what was it,
you bought
6 drinks. I was 2 bottles of water, 3 Pepsis or something, and 2 other flavoured water, I think it was. I couldn't create it, and I bought some pot noodles as well, which I haven't eaten in about 12 years.
I know, if you go to a live event, it just really takes it out.
It's like going to see a band you like, you just go crazy, and because you want to absorb everything. I know what you're saying. I can kind of go with the Vince McMahon moment being great, but for me it was the Punk entrance because that's what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Because you can hear during my recording. Cause I say that his theme song. I love that song. So I was
I
always.
remember watching it back, and he come out and he went, ho, ho, ho. He went like that. I thought that summed it up for me because he knew. And I've been reading like that he likes stuff like that. Fans that do that, you know. He knew he was going to get a crowd that night.
I say the real fans cheer him. If the mainstream don't like it, but he's been since you asked me earlier about favourite athletes and
yes,
it's. I mean, this isn't a recent thing. I've been a fan of his ever since he debuted. So I'm going to be honest that it's only been recently that I've really been paying attention to independent stuff.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until he debuted on ECW the show, and I was just instantly drawn to him. I think it was the hair. That's what it was. I think that's what frustrated me. But I've been a fan of him ever since I've seen him wrestling for WWE. I mean, I think when I really...
Yeah, I remember that. I remember watching his John Morrison match.
Yeah, his first one was against Justin Credible. When I was watching
I was watching because I remember I thought, ECW is really good.
Yeah, he's got some good guys on.
Wrestling on that show is great.
The early days they did. And
oh yeah,
I really got behind Punk when he started the Straight Edge Society.
Yeah.
I thought... You know, I can remember on his DVD he says, "Was I trying to be like the straight edge Jesus?" Absolutely, and I knew that when I was watching. I thought it's so blatant he's trying to be Jesus, and I loved that because it's just so offensive.
Yeah,
and it's through that I picked up on this because I always knew that like not drinking stuff was an idea, but I never knew what it was.
Yeah,
because I've never been a drinker, even when I did. It was a thing I did on just when everyone else did it.
Yeah.
But I never really liked it because I used to drink beer and I hated it. It just tasted horrible. And I remember after that slid, and I thought that's actually not a bad idea. And I stopped drinking for about I think it was a year and a half. And I started again, but I didn't drink beer. It was like cocktails. But
then how did it stop?
I just had some bad.
Something it was something to do with that colour fest,
yeah,
was it?
No, I mean, I knew about that beforehand, but I just never liked see, me drinking, after that, I never get drunk. But the worst I got was a bit, lightheaded. I hate the way you feel when you're drunk. Some of the things I witness, I just decided, you know what, it's better not, I don't want any part of it at all. And I've never smoked, never done drugs, and I just don't drink anymore. I'm just staying clear of it.
We'll leave the whole drinking thing there.
Yeah, so is everything about his like wrestling style. He's my favourite at the moment, and I'm really starting to grow on Ziggler because I always liked him, but I'm starting to get behind him, and
I'm really behind Cesaro at the minute.
Daniel Bryan, all the guys from the independent scene, I'm really getting behind them. But Punk's my favourite. When I first started. The obvious thing is like Rock was obviously the favourite, I think.
Yeah.
Him and Austin, but Rock.
It's funny because moving on to our next topic, we'll do essentially it's a review of the product future prospects. It's funny how it switches.
What's your favourite?
My favourite wrestler.
Yeah.
It's got to be Undertaker. It's always been Undertaker, and I always say it is right now. If someone's obviously if he retires, he is semi-retired at the minute. It's Punk after him. It's definitely Punk, and then it's Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
But definitely Undertaker. I've always liked him. Always. It's always. I don't know. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Undertaker's my favorite," but when you say that nowadays, that's you essentially saying, "Well, I've been a fan of his for 12, 13 years," and essentially that's kind of half his career. I think you've been a fan that long. See, when he came back as a dead man, that was me. I was a huge fan of his. That was it. I'm still a fan of his through the Badass, but definitely when he became the dead man, I remember for a few months he didn't get attacked when he come back. He was immune to being attacked. I thought it was brilliant. He's not getting attacked. And then when he had that feud with GBL, I was so disappointed he got attacked by the Ministry. I was like, oh, he's been attacked. No. And then the next week he just beat them all up.
That's what Taker does.
And that was, it's just been I don't know, his wrestling style was good. He always changes it. Because I remember he didn't used to be a hard hitter with his fists and stuff like that. And he's kind of really adopted that over the past few years now. And also, the submission moves, the MMA stuff.
A lot of
He's
guys,
always constantly changing.
a lot of guys say that the Undertaker gimmick, it's like a dead. It always considered like a dead end thing.
Yeah.
He was he was essentially the walking zombie to begin with. And you think that can only go so far, but he's maintained that for his whole career. That's over 20 years he's been the Undertaker. And it's
so
the fact he can keep it fresh is amazing. Do you have a favourite?
They still do the supernatural stuff, so that still gets me.
Do you have a favourite like Taker match? Because I know you said like WrestleMania 20 is probably your favourite moment.
I would say 25, WrestleMania 25.
Shawn Michaels,
yeah. Yeah, definitely. That was good. I mean, 26 was good as well, but 25 was. You thought 25. I thought he was going to beat him.
Did you really?
I really thought they were going to let Shawn take it, but because the two were just going at it, and there was. See, when he jumped over the rope and hit the cameraman, I seriously thought Undertaker was hurt, and I went, "Oh no, don't get counted out! Don't get counted out! Please don't get counted out!"
You know the guy get fired for that?
Yeah, I know. And I was just like, no, don't get counted out. And then I get in the ring, and then I was like, yeah, calm down. I'm like, honestly though, I'm like that with every WrestleMania match. My heart pounds. I'm not kidding. When I watch, because I don't want him to lose.
I know
it's going to be worse for me this year, because if he's really against CM Punk, I don't know what I'm going to do.
You wouldn't know who to root for. You'd be like, yeah, no, yeah, oh god.
I don't know. I think instinct will take over.
He's never going to lose.
I think I'll probably go for Undertaker.
He's never going to lose. I mean, and it's because, I mean,
the
good thing, I think the mentality behind Undertaker matches now is you know he's going to win, but see if they can just hook you for a second to make you think he's going to lose, the match will be successful. Because, like I say, with WrestleMania 25, I knew Taker was going to win, but there was moments I went, oh, you know what, when you get, so it only lasts for a couple of seconds, but you really think he's going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
No, your heartbeat goes up and you go, oh, I can't believe I fucking for that. So, I mean, yeah, because I was going to say that's one of my favourite Taker matches, and it's one of the...
See when they got pedigreed and super kicked last year, I thought, oh, no way. No way. I could have swore Shawn Michaels counted to 3.
Oh, I think he did. Taker kicked it before that.
Yeah. I was just like, oh, thank God. I always like when he wins, but I think I'm going to have a struggle this year, definitely.
So I think just before we move on to our final topic, I think you're saying something about the matches and stipulations in your favourite.
Stipulations.
Yeah, so you can go for that. What's your favourite match type?
24/7 rule. That is my favourite stipulation of all time. The 24/7 rule. I'll stick by that rule forever. See, when Deborah, she was like a general manager kind of thing. She was a commissioner, sorry, I do apologise, for Raw for a while. And she brought that rule in when Crash Holly was a champion. That was the best thing they could have ever done with that title.
Yeah.
I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and I'll always stand by it as it's one of my favourites.
Remember during WrestleMania 18, do you remember that? Like the title changed 7 times during the show?
I still watch that to this day, and it's still hilarious. It's brilliant. See when they started like chasing Crash, this was before that, see when they first introduced it, they were chasing Crash to like playgrounds, and he's in his bed, or to try and pin him. Oh, it's brilliant. See when Gerald Briscoe pins Crash, he was sleeping.
Crash. I remember that, yeah. I turned his bed and the referee was like, what?
and then they had, it's a great tale to have.
I remember they were fighting in some children's play group.
Yeah.
With a slide and everything, I remember, yeah.
I thought it was... I mean, I remember when Trish won it, when they were just kind of phasing it out in 2004, and then she got put through a table. I thought, oh, God. No, it was brilliant. I loved it. And then, obviously, Bischoff took it away. Damn you, Bischoff. I was just so disappointed when Bischoff took it away. Oh, this is the last hardcore battle royal. I was just like, oh, no.
Because you always say Royal Rumble during Royal Rumble 2001 when they went hardcore for about 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. That was good. I enjoyed that.
I think that's one of my favourite. That's one of my favourite Royal Rumbles. I tend to watch that every year before.
So, what's your favourite stipulation?
see, I've been thinking really hard, and I'm probably going to miss a lot, but I always remember because I remember because I had to beg my parents to buy me it on tape because it was an 18. And they were, because I think I was 12 or 13 or something, and they said, oh, but it's 18. I was like, no, but come on, it's just, oh, come on, just buy it, come on, please. It was, do you ever see Armageddon 2000 with the 6-man Hell in a Cell?
Yeah.
Because, I always loved that moment when they go, right, this is getting so serious, you're going to sell it inside Hell in a Cell, and everyone would go, ah. That's one thing I loved when it was Triple H and Undertaker were having a pro. I didn't want the match to happen, really.
Yeah.
I just went with it. And when they were having that promo, I went, he's going to say it, and then Triple H went, Hell in a Cell, and I went, yes.
It still surprised everybody.
I know, cause I like it when, because that's why I don't like the idea of a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, because it's supposed to be, these guys.
To be honest nowadays, it's kind of camped down a bit.
You think, when the feud gets like, these guys can't stand each other and they need to settle it, No. And I remember, because I thought that was a brilliant storyline, because it was, I was built up for about 4 months, like, since, when, Kurt Angle was champion, he wrestled Rock, he wrestled Taker, and he always got out of it. And you had them all fighting each other.
It was a Rock and Taker, those 2 months.
That was really, because I remember Foley get brought in as commissioner.
Yeah. Which
is another a really favourable moment of mine. But yeah, how they kept fighting each other, getting involved in each other's matches, and they went, right, they need to sell it inside Hell in a Cell. And I think that match is just, it's so chaotic, and I love it. I still love it.
I've not done another one since. It's really just been an Elimination Chamber.
But it's just not the same.
It's not the same. The Elimination Chamber is a bit different. But definitely, Hell in a Cell is that one you think, oh god. It is a career-ending match.
Yeah, because
it's a career-altering match.
Do you know one thing I remember during Armageddon is during the show, they show highlights of previous matches, and they show how it's just the way the music. It's kind of like the little opera going. Then it has the Triple H, Bloody and Mick Foley, and you think, you forget about how it's sports entertainment. You go, this is so awesome. This is what at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want to be entertained, and I understand. I know people enjoy John Cena's goofy promos, and other people want blood and guts and everything.
Yeah.
If you come out of it and you've enjoyed something out of it,
that was a good match.
It was because it was lots of blood.
Another great Undertaker moment in this choke slam. Well, he didn't really choke slam. He pushed him.
He says he pushed him, yeah. But I mean, if he choked him off that, he'd have killed him.
No, he would have killed him.
He went right through the truck.
That was pretty awesome. I thought they were going to when they were on the roof, it was going to snap or something. But it never did. And I can see why people like Hell in a Cell, because it is that match. It's a match that ends storylines essentially.
That's what its purpose is. It's like
its purpose is to end a storyline.
Because it's a brawl atmosphere. I mean, do you remember when Undertaker had that feud with Brock Lesnar?
Yes,
because that was because remember Undertaker had the busted hand, he had his cast on, and because that feud was really brutal, and the Hell in a Cell that really fit. So that's why I just think there shouldn't be a hit, because when there's a pay-per-view, because there's been a lot of Hell in a Cell matches recently that really don't deserve it, because it's just another match.
Yeah.
But it's just when it's got that kind of they really want two guys just want to just really kick the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
That's bring in Hell in a Cell.
I mean, nowadays they've made the cell bigger and better.
Yeah, so
they don't use it as much. They don't use it as much as they used to.
That is really a career. That Tim White, remember that? He ended his career.
I know. He lost his referee stuff. That was crazy. That was absolutely But yes, Hell in a Cell and 24/7 rule. That is our favourite stipulations.
Yeah.
And we're gonna end on this is a review of the product as it is now, and some future prospects of the product. So, what do you think? Well, first off, start off. What are your prediction matches, except for the ones that you know are already going to happen for WrestleMania 29?
Well, it seems inevitable that it's going to be twice in a lifetime.
Yes, twice in a lifetime.
I don't know if my biggest problem is the fact that they build it as once in a lifetime. Because see if they just built it as a big time match, I probably wouldn't have as big a gripe with it. But because when I came out in the Royal Rumble, I enjoyed the pay-per-view. The matches were what they were. They were good. It was entertaining, but once I didn't like how it sets up just such an inevitable finish. Because it just seems like Rock's going to come into WrestleMania as a champion. He's going to face Cena. Cena's going to win and be the conquering hero. And predictability isn't always bad, but it's just that we've got 2 months to wait for something.
Nobody likes predictable WrestleManias.
Because Cena winning a title is one thing, but it's just so obvious it's going to happen.
Well, I've heard that Undertaker is not sure if he's going to wrestle yet.
But that's the thing, because
they've not got a feud for Punk if he doesn't decide to wrestle. So, if they're not going to wrestle, if they're not going to Undertaker CM Punk's not going to happen, then why don't just CM Punk straight in there? You know, he could be the company hero and win again.
See, it's just set up because
it's inevitable Cena's going to win.
Cena hasn't had a title in such a long time. It's just
Well,
it's going to happen.
More than a year.
Well, he's won it a lot, but he's not held it in quite a while. So if Taker decides to wrestle, it seems to be he's going to wrestle Punk.
Yeah.
But see, I don't know. There's a lot up in there because I know there was rumours that Ziggler was going to face Rio for the title.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Because it seems
that's Sheamus and Randy Orton.
Yeah, because Randy Orton.
That's going to work.
Well, I think Orton's going to turn heel at some point. They've been saying that for a while, so I don't know when that's going to happen.
I'd really wish Ziggler won the Rumble. They could do that unify thing.
Well, it seems because they sent out feeders to fans asking them what they should call their live events, and it seems to be they're getting rid of the SmackDown Raw.
I think that's the end of the brand.
To me, when I heard Ziggler say that, I thought it seems to be because one reason they had 2 different world titles on the shows is because they always wanted to end the house show with a world title match.
It's funny. Now, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh no, it's completely gone. Carry on.
Because that's what I'm thinking, that since they're going to be unifying the house shows, because it seems to be that they're both world titles, but really the world title was taking the place of the IC title did about 10 years ago. Yeah. It's the second, so the IC belt and the US belt, they're like how the European title was. It's just there. So you can try and give it prestige, but that world title, it's almost like
they should switch it every month. Like to give that world title a little more prestigious. Have WWE title main event pay-per-view 1 month, and then switch it to the world title next month, and then keep rotating it.
They've been opening the show with world title. They've done it the past 2 Manias, I think.
I actually prefer them doing that. Because it gets the audience kind of.
I think that's why they're doing it. If the world title really had, if it really has some major storyline going on, they might main event. But I really don't ever see it happening because the WWE title is that's the prestige right there. And the world title, like
SmackDown's title.
Yes,
but they didn't have a draft this year.
So that there's no point. You've got everyone playing on it. You've got everyone playing. I was going to say everyone's basically just wrestling on each other's show anyway.
Yeah.
So the draft is because they had it the year before, and it seemed pointless because the draft isn't solid anymore.
No.
Because they brought in the draft after the WWE acquired WCW, so you had about an influx of talent. So you had the bodies, but these days like I say, future predictions. They're signing a lot of it because I think W's finally realised there's actually talent on the independents. Yeah. Like we see in Punk, Daniel Bryan, Antonio Cesaro, they're all coming from ROH, things like that. And
I read today, by the way, that the Ascension are back.
Well, no, one of them is. No, because one of them. Well, okay. I think what they're doing with that is, was it Conor O'Brien his name is?
I think, yeah.
Because there was a tag team got the Ascension, and one of them basically just got drunk and was just deserved what he got. I think they're just billing him as the Ascension because I think he had a promo where he said he was. So NXT because if you don't watch it, you really should. It's because it's a pure wrestling show. There's no the storyline in it, but it's predominantly wrestling.
Yeah,
some really good. It's good to see what the future holds. It's promising, and because we're bringing all these new talents up, it's because. I know that apparently Vince McMahon, he's got one more pick left, for the next face of the company, after Cena.
Yeah.
And that's just, because I'm alright with Cena win the title again, but it just seems like they're building this up to put Cena over, and he's never going to get any more over than he already is.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense to me. It seems like.
So what other matches? What other matches?
I'm trying to think.
I think I am convinced because Road Scholars have split up now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you know that.
Yes, because I watched.
Split up on SmackDown.
Yep.
Kane and Daniel Bryan.
You think so?
They're having a little bit tiff.
I think
And I've seen this kind of thing before, but I think they will. I think they'll have a WrestleMania
match. I think maybe they'll lose the titles of Mania, like one of them will turn on the other one.
Oh yeah, you could do that. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Mania's where it all begins again.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they could do that. They could. Right now, I'm predicting they might have a Mania match. Or I like your idea about it, but I don't know. They might have. They might have it.
I mean,
I think Ziggler at Mania will cash it in. Definitely.
Do you know one thing I heard?
Definitely.
I don't know if you know. It's you should really follow a lot of these more wrestling guys on Twitter. No, like this. He's got some radio show, talk TV show in Canada. Uh-huh. He said that what his idea is like he really should cash in on WrestleMania because he's dubbed the show off, and what better place to show off than the biggest show of the year, and that absolutely makes total sense. Even if he maybe faces Dewey when he loses, but then cashes in afterwards. Or
I think that's a brilliant idea. That in itself, I heard a good idea the other day, and I think I told you about it. It's where he hits him with a chair. What happens is he has a match with Del Rio at Mania, and just instantly gets disqualified and beats him down with a chair, and then cashes in his world title and pins him.
Do you know? Do you remember? I was on Raw a while ago. When someone took out Big Show.
Yeah.
And Ziggler came to cash in, and it looks like really good. And Cena came out and ruined it, and you're like, no, no. I'm behind. And before you say anything, I'm behind Ziggler because I enjoy him. It's nothing to do with his associations, so just don't bring that up.
Associations of what?
He's valet. He's
valet.
He's my internet.
Okay. I'm trying to think what else.
Well, what's your vision for the future? Do you think the product's going in the right direction?
Yes, and I don't know if you've been noticing this, but I've been definitely noticing a lot more. But I don't know if it's because it's WrestleMania season and stuff like that. But they have been getting away with a lot more stuff that they usually don't really say or do. You know, there's some bitches been thrown in there. There's been twinkle tits has been thrown in there.
There was that thing about not like just one thing we should just stomp out right now is not returning to the Attitude Era.
They're not. No.
Hate people saying that.
Oh, they're not doing that, but they're becoming.
Pushing the envelope a little bit.
PG-13. We should say that.
Yeah.
We should. I think they're trying to push it and see how far they can go with it.
Yeah, the Attitude Era, it was great when it.
But as I said, I don't know if it's because it's WrestleMania season, and they can get away with a lot more during that time. But I have noticed it before.
They've been doing it. It's like this. They've been turning the tap on and off in it. Do you know?
Yeah.
Speaking of the Birmingham show, I remember when CM Punk was talking to Ziggler and Vicky, and he was talking to Vince and that cranky old bastard.
Whoa!
I know you hear the crowd go, "Whoa!"
Right, that's a different word over here. That's a different meaning. That in the UK, bastard is quite a strong word. I'll need to bleep that out now.
Said worse on the podcast, Jason.
But yeah, it's quite an offensive word over here. It's not so much over in America, but.
Well, I mean,
think now.
Fanny in America, that doesn't mean anything.
I don't know. I think in America it's a bit more normal. It's a word that's kind of got a bit of shock value, but it's just like, just ignore it. But over here it's still a bit. If you say that, it's
scary.
I mean, when I was younger, the two words were, F and B. They were the two words that you would never say.
You can swear if you want. It's very good. We're all friends here. You can swear.
But yeah, they were the two words, and now it seems like they're It seems like they're getting away with a lot. And can I say something now? I'm watching a lot more. I can watch the full 3 hours now. I couldn't do it before, but I can now. I like getting up on a Monday, and watching it on a Monday morning or afternoon.
I really
I made it into my. I put it in my. Essentially, I put it into my schedule now that I have to watch it.
Look at you with the skit. Excuse me, Tiffany. Do I have time in the schedule to watch Draw this morning? Okay. Hold on, calls.
SmackDown. I don't watch SmackDown. I know I should, but no.
I mean, I don't watch as aggressive as I do Raw, but you should watch. I mean, do you know what you should do? You should watch NXT as well. It's really, I think you'll like some of the guys on there.
I do like watching Raw on a Monday. It's good. The quality, ever since watching the 3 hours, I feel that it's got a lot better. A lot of people don't like watching 3 hours, but I feel it's been pretty strong.
Oh, you've got more time to showcase your talent, because I mean, you see when you watch a 3 hour now Raw. Say that again. When you watch a 3 hour Raw now, watch the clock and see when it gets to 2 hours. Just think to yourself, how would I feel if it ended here?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
One thing they used to be able to do it, Raw, and when I was first watching it, I used to always like when it was like halfway through a show, something would happen and say, okay, you can have a match later on. That never happened during the 2 hours of Raw. It was all meticulously planned out in advance, so everything just happened. I just like the idea of something happens an hour in and it's settled on later on, because you've got time for it.
Yeah. That's good. I mean,
I
can watch it. And do you know what? I definitely enjoy it. I enjoyed Raw Roulette this week.
Well, see the ending of Raw with Heyman and Lesnar. Oh, that was one of the best. That's one of the best endings I've seen in a while. I just love the way Heyman was reacting to it.
They changed the beginning of. I think they put Lesnar's kind of whatever they could call it, Austin's glass break. They kind of changed the picture of it. I don't know if you've noticed. It sounded a bit more uncomfortable, which is a good thing. I kind of knew. Do you know what? See, when they left it to the last to do the performance review, I kind of went, maybe. And then when Vince went, you are, and then he paused, and then it went. I thought, yeah, I thought so. But
I actually like this return better, because the last return, I think, because the deal, it was mean it happened over Mania, and I remember reading that Lesnar was in Miami and they were about to break a deal.
Yeah.
And I think the crowd knew that, because remember when he returned to F5 Cena, the crowd was kind of Lesnar, and it kind of spoiled it a little bit. Whereas this time, no one saw it coming. It's like Triple H said to Austin, you never saw it coming. Never saw it coming. Surprise. No, I thought it was. And that's one thing I've got to really stand to appreciate. It kind of annoys me a little, because I don't know if you. I can't remember the storyline at WrestleMania 25 when Orton attacked McMahon. Mm-hmm. But it's not the same. And I told myself it's not that. Because essentially what's happening now is, what will happen is, or I'm predicting that Triple H will come back from his retirement and just and say, look, we want a match. You attack my father-in-law. You upset my wife. You upset my grandkids, and I think they'll go with that. But I don't know whether they're going to go with that at Elimination Chamber. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe Shane will come back. That's one thing I've said is that a lot of the Raw side is kind of predictable. I really don't know what's going to happen on the SmackDown side, and I kind of want to keep it that way. I want to be surprised.
I don't know what would happen.
I mean, do you know why is Khali in it? I don't know. I think Triple H was be fascinated by him, because he's essentially run SmackDown now, and he's always there.
Yeah.
And he's just so. Do you know, I nothing personal against him. I feel sorry for him, because he really struggles.
Yeah, he does.
It's almost my body. You, sir?
Not sorry, sir. I was just honest.
Yeah. Because I mean, I don't know if you remember, there was a thing on Raw a couple of years ago when, I don't know if it was the Nexus, where if you remember, the whole locker room was empty and Khali was coming out, and he was just kind of walking with his arms through it, going, can't even say the word, sauntering down. You've got all these guys running past him, and he gets to the ring just as the segment ends. Oh God, Khali, why?
Do you remember when he used to be a monster?
Well, he's a good monster, but it's not. not
It's
interesting
not.
to watch.
I feel sorry for him because, I mean, as you said, he's a bit too big for his frame. He's just he can't do it. He can't really wrestle at all. That silly chop that annoys me when he does
I mean,
that.
do you know what? Do you know one thing is? It's kind of those things that in life, if he did that to you, that probably would knock you on your ass. And
Yeah, yeah, it would. But no, I think they're just trying to appeal to the Indian market still. And so we're talking about Cali. We're past that before.
Cali caused the botch there. It's his fault.
Cali caused the technical difficulties.
So we'll just end.
So WrestleMania, and I was going to talk about. Do you think they'll ever unify the titles? And do you think when they unify?
World titles, yes, they will.
Because
I think they will.
I think they will because they've got that title design that they've had for a while now. So I think that if they ever do it, that's when they'll introduce a new title. I really think that's when they'll do it, is if they were to unify the two titles.
I think what they might do, I don't know if they're designing it or but I think post-Mania, because if the inevitable plan is Cena to win, he himself has said the title needs to change.
Yes.
I think he might be the one to bring it in. Yeah. So if he does beat Rock, and he'll say us to start something new, there's a new title, so on and so forth. So yeah, I don't think the unification, it won't happen for a while, and if they do it, I don't know how they would do it. I've always had this idea that, I remember the idea came to me, I remember it was when Miz was champion at the Rumble, and his music went off, and I thought, is it him? Then Riley came out, and I was thinking, do you know what, that'd be a great idea, that what could be the champion wins and then decides it's not either what he has is not enough and enters the Rumble, wins and challenges the other champion.
Yeah.
Because if I was booking, that's what I would do. So I don't know if that's how they'll work it.
I mean, they do say that anybody can enter. Anybody. Yeah. They keep saying that. So
it's just the champions don't need to. But because the thing with Ziggler has is a good thing, because what he could do is he could win. I don't know. It'd have to work.
He could be the one that does it.
Well, it could, because the way I thought was what it can do is they can challenge for one.
He reminds me of Jericho a few years ago when he won the undisputed title. Not sure. Can I remind you?
That was a big surprise when he won the undisputed title. But yeah, I think that's an idea that because it means you can have the guy win the two titles in the one show, that he can win the Rumble, challenge for one title, and use the briefcase for the other one.
Yeah. That's how it's so brilliant, the Rumble. Why? Because I've just done Cena versus Rock at the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, but we need two a lifetime, brother. The match, I suppose it'd be good. But the belt is once in a lifetime. Oh god, that's annoying.
Just accept it. It's now twice in a lifetime.
It's twice in a lifetime.
You're gonna have
I don't know if you've seen all these joke posters going around the internet, 75 times in a lifetime, and it's got a picture of Rock and Cena's old men going.
Oh,
as long as I don't get 3 times in a lifetime, because that's just going to be ridiculous.
Well, we'll kind of wrap it up here. So what do you expect? What do you think? What do you expect from WWE in the future?
Oh, I see this influx of new talent, and I just want to see somebody have a breakout moment, an indication that there's because it's not clear who the next face of the company is going to be.
Right now, for me, it's Ryback.
You think so?
Yeah.
See, he doesn't carry.
He has the look.
He has the look, but he doesn't. I mean, Cena has that kind of charisma about him. Ryback doesn't have that for me. Mm-hmm. See, something like. The one thing I'll say, I do not like The Miz, but he's good. Apparently that's why he's turned face, because he can talk. I don't know, from what I say, the catcher's one thing, but apparently he's always like that. That drives me nuts. But
who was Post Boy before Cena?
How was it? When did Cena come in? That was about 2000. I don't know, actually. I think it was, that was just the tail end of Rock Austin, wasn't it? So
it might have been The Rock and Austin.
I don't know, who was do you know, there's something you look up. Do you know who was considered the face? Probably.
I'd say both of them. Both Austin and Rock.
I mean,
I'd probably say both
they kind of went away during that time, so I don't know who was.
Not during 2002, they
Wasn't
didn't.
Triple H? I mean, he kind of morphed him. He just kind of took, because when Rock and Austin left, he just kind of walked into the position. So I think probably Triple H, I imagine.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was. Well, he was a self-imposed the guy, but I don't know. Because you got these things like. I mean, Taker was around that, but he's not the face of the company.
He's not really.
He's a top guy, but he's not the face.
He's not
It's
face.
like, yes, like technically like Punk for the last year was the top guy, but he's always going to be the face.
Yeah.
See some like I can see someone like Ziggler.
Yeah.
I don't know if WWE would. I mean, he could be like this generation's macho man. You know, he's probably the best worker on the card, but never, because you've always got someone like Hogan above you. He's never the best wrestler, but he's just he's the publicity guy. So I don't know who's going to be the next face of the company. I see right back. He's got the physique and everything, but he just doesn't have the public relations.
Yeah, he's not John Cena.
He's not John Cena. I mean, it's just it's hard to say. So I don't know. Luckily, it's not my decision.
Well, my review of the product is I'm hoping the titles are unified. I'm hoping they bring back a title. I'm not going to say which.
You want
bring back an old title? Yes, I want the damn European title.
Do you know what you can? Do you know what, other than the $200 replica, I cannot find that anywhere.
Yeah,
it's nowhere to be found.
I'll bring it back.
You'll bring it back, Willie. Is that going to be for your heel turn?
Yeah, that's for my heel turn. By the way, hashtag Jay the Heel. Just saying.
J Damon X, don't get me in.
Alright, okay, we'll leave it there. Our next podcast will be all about games and movies again. But we'll do this once a month. We'll do a wrestling podcast once a month. So, thank you everybody for listening. Goodbye from me and
Goodbye.
Jamie.
Yeah.
Goodbye.